Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you guys how to play rank. I know a lot of you guys jump into rank just trying to have fun, right? And times again, you guys will get into this whale lobby and just have a miserable experience. But hopefully with this video, you guys are going to be able to make an impact in your team. Now, definitely I'm not going to play on my account because that's going to be kind of unfair. So I'm going to show you guys on the secondary account. That's kind of like mid-range to almost a high range account. I'll show you guys how to support, some tips and tricks, how to get more wins in rank, right? Pay close attention to this, and I hope this video helps you guys out. So for the first game, right, we jump into it. This is a Masters to Kings lobby, right? And the tech over here is the population and passive increase one. Now, whenever you guys see this tech, right, I want you to keep one thing in mind. Penguins, penguins, and penguins. You're going to have more capacity to have more troops, right? So that's why dragons is not really going to be useful here, right? You want to make sure you're stacking as many penguins as possible. Doesn't matter if you're playing a support or you're playing DPS. Stack as many penguins as you can. If you guys have seen my screenshots in Discord, right? With those crazy high increase in stack percentage, like 400 to 500, that's how I do it, because I get games like these and I be stacking my dungeon full of penguins as much as I can. Now, in the beginning, the strategy is always going to be, right, wait for that wave 80 counter, right? Obviously, summon your lord, put it into dungeon, and then after that, wait for that wave 80 counter, and summon your mobs, summon your troops, and sell everything except for the hunters. And let's talk about this. First of all, if you are playing support, right? I'm talking about if you're playing support. So you sell everything, keep the hunters down there, right? Keep enough to make one chanter. And then you're just gonna start focusing on rolling mythics and putting it into your dungeon. Now, you can choose to increase your purple enhance a little bit, right? To do more damage in the dungeon, but don't stop rolling. Keep rolling until you zero out, you know? And if you have the Zara skin, that's going to give you like a legendary after 10 rolls, right? Depending on what legendary you get, right? It might be worth it to make the legendary. Now over here, I saw that I have a lot of my teammate right here, right? He was doing quite a bit of damage, so I started building my econ. Now for the econ, you're only going to make 3 coins, 1 chanter, and 1 or 2 necro, depending on it. Now, do not make more than 3 coins, because then you would have to kill it off later. The only time I make more than 3 coins, let's say 4 or 5, is when I get a physical increase game, or if the coin is supreme, because then it has an extended range and you can put it at much lower rows and it will still hit the troops. Now right here, I'm just going to slowly collect my econ. Now in this game mode, right, playing support doesn't mean that you're not able to clear your 3rd dungeon, right? Because if you're not able to clear 3rd dungeon, that's not support. That's just you relying on your teammate to carry you. And that's not the type of gameplay that I want you guys to do. I want you guys to be able to give maximum benefit to your teammate if he is a higher scale or if he has better troops, right? Which most of the time you guys will face people like that, or you'll be paired up with someone that is solely going to DPS, and you want to make sure that you're able to help them as much as you can. Now, I did make 1 dragon, and I shouldn't have made it right there, right? But that's all right, as far as I don't make any more dragons. I'm going to keep rolling. What I'm looking for over here, right, as a support in ranked, you want to make sure that you're making like 2 turtles, 6 allots. And that should be plenty of stuns for your DPS. Now, if your DPS is not able to cover that and troops are still walking, that might be because your DPS does not have enough damage, or you haven't provided him with enough attack up increase. You want to make sure that you're helping. Like you can see right here, I'm keeping my penguins. I'm not selling them, I'm not merging them, because those give like 5% attack increase. Now for my dungeon, right, and as we get to it, right, I'm not going to start making any troops for my dungeon yet. I'm just going to stack up penguins. I'm just going to keep stacking penguins, because I can see my DPS has already built an envoy and he also has the skin. so I'm not too much worried about it. Now, in the new season, right, we're probably not going to have this 20, 40, 60 boss mechanic anymore. It's probably going to be similar to what we had in the season before, where they were sending bosses, right? I don't know what that mechanic is called, but when we get to that point, right, when the new season starts, right, you're not going to play anything much different. The only difference that would be is you probably would build quite a lot of swords, right? Swords help out, decrease the HP of the bosses. Even if they're physical resistance, it will be still be better than any other troop that you will build. Now, if you're supporting, right, you don't have to worry too much on this boss damage, right? As you can tell, I've already built 150% attack increase. Now, that is the level that sometimes people see near the end game. And we already have it like pre-wave 20 right here. Even though this mechanic is not going to be in the game next rank season, right? It's good to see, like, because of my damage increase, right, my DPS is able to output more damage, and that is super important if you want to win games, right? Because it's not just your DPS doing the work, you are also helping them out if you play like this, and that's the most important thing. Now, for the first two dungeons, right? It's a shared dungeon, so both you and your DPS are going to be attacking it. You don't really have to worry about it. If you are purely playing as support. Now, I keep emphasizing if you're purely playing as support is like when you have if you match up with someone that's a lot higher rank, right? Now, if you match up with someone that's around your skill level, right, you would want to play kind of like semi-support. And I didn't show that in these two gameplays right now, but if you guys do like this video, right, I'll make a video on how to play semi-support with people around you the same hero strength or account strength as yours. Now, my DPS over here is kind of shocked at how good I'm playing, but that's because he doesn't know who he's playing with. But now I have to start focusing on building troops to kill my third dungeon. Now over here, right, because we were so high up in HP, I don't want to pick anything up from the selection, right? Because I don't want to fill up my board with extra troops that are not necessary for my gameplay. So I just fill up my board, make sure that whatever selection I get, it's not going to fill up a space on my board. And as you can tell, we were having pretty shit selections at the end. Now that's an important thing to know because let's say if for some reason, right, you're the first pick, not for some reason, but more likely if you didn't clear your dungeon fast enough and you're the first pick, right? You want to make sure that you have a space on your board because first picks are normally really good picks. You'll be able to get something good out of those. I keep the chrono. I'm gonna go ahead and try to make 3 swords because swords not only do they do HP based damage, but they also increase attack up by 10%. Keep in mind, next season sword is going to be really great with the skin because HP effects are reduced in ranked as well, and your sword is going to output way more damage than normal. Now, since my cat is 15, right, and my term is only 12, for my dungeon, right, I'm looking to build like for the melee options, either crocs or swords, and cats on the back line. Because cats are really good in dungeon as well when they're ulting. Especially if they're supreme, cats are going to be ulting the whole time, all through the 5 phases of the dungeon boss. Now for your tech selection, right, obviously the best option is HP, right? Now, if I had an option to increase my passive effects by additional percentage amount, I would have picked that. But besides that, what the best option obviously that I saw right there was 15, I think it was 15 or 10 free rare prey chances. And that's just gonna help me save up some points. So it is super useful what techs you guys are picking as well. I'm gonna try to explain what techs are better depending on the game style. Uh, but I probably won't be able to cover all of those techs. So right now I'm just gonna start putting stuff in my dungeon. And I'm gonna go ahead and enhance. Now, even though as a support I won't be doing much damage, but you always know in the dungeon, right? It's always a fight down to the last second. So even a little bit of damage, whatever damage you're doing, might be the difference between you guys clearing it first or you guys clearing it last. So make sure you're doing that. Always also make sure, right, if there is a certain boss mechanic that's coming up that's going to kill your troops, right, have enough space on the board to comfortably move around stuff. That's super important as well. And right now we're going to get, I think it's the 40 boss that's coming up. So I'm just going to prepare my stuff up. Now, before recording this video, I didn't know the Croc wasn't relic at that time when I was playing ranked on this account. But if your Croc is relic, that also helps provide extra damage boost. In a sense that troops take more damage depending on your relic level. We're just gonna go ahead and demolish this 40 boss pretty soon. And right after that, I'm gonna prep up for the dungeon. Now, I don't know the exact timing, but between right after the boss is killed, right after 4 waves at 44 or 45, I think you get another selection pick. Depending on where your score is at, you might want to take that pick, you might not want to take that pick. In my case, I didn't have to take that pick because we were first in HP as well again. So I'm just gonna fill up my board. Now, as you can see, guys, right here at 40, I killed off my econ perfectly because there's no need for me to have econ on the board. I'd rather have that board space to make more support troops, which I'm gonna do. I'm also gonna go ahead and make 2 more cats since I got the wizards, right, to fill up my dungeon. So I'm making sure I'm clearing my 3rd dungeon. Again, that's super important. Now, I didn't really properly test out if 3 swords were enough to kill the dungeon, or just 3 melee spots were enough to kill the dungeon. In your case, it might be, but I just wanted to make sure I was clearing my 3rd dungeon. And the tech selection is coming up, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fill up my board. I could either do that with my troops, but since I was looking for archers anyways, I just went ahead and summoned commons. Now again, since we're first in HP, we're likely not gonna have any good picks. Now, another thing to note is in the selection wheel, if you guys haven't already noticed, all the selection picks are supreme. And I also made a post on Supreme abilities in the main Discord channel. Go ahead and take a look at that. That's going to give you a breakdown of all the Supreme abilities and what are good to use, what are bad to use, what are good to use for support, and what are great to use for your DPS. Since I also have a chrono, I'm going to go ahead and make an extra chrono as well and make 2 more cats. Now, after I clear my 3rd dungeon, right, I can choose to kill off my cats, which is probably the best thing to do, and make more penguins to support my DPS. Now, in this case, right, like I said, because it was a passive and population increase game, you can stack up as many penguins as you want, and that's always going to be the best thing to do. So I kind of overdid it and killed my dungeon pretty fast, but that's always a good thing to do. So that's all good. Now, on this selection tech that I'm about to get, right, I'm gonna try to make sure. So amongst these three, the best option is obviously the monster count limit. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll the other two, and if I don't get anything decent that I'm looking for, just go ahead and pick that one up. Now, let me explain it to you guys why that's a good option. Because let's say when you're getting overwhelmed by vase, right, and if nobody else has picked that tech up, right, you guys would have a higher chance of winning that game because your monster troop limit is higher. Others are going to hit their max capacity or max count, max monster count, and they're going to lose out, but you won't be able to because you have a higher monster limit. So that's always a good underrated tech to pick up. So going forward, I'm going to keep rolling for more penguins. I'm going to try to fill up my dungeon as much as I can. Now, as the Wave 60 boss mechanic is coming up, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting ready for it. Now, my goal over here would be to lose my 3 cats and possibly that coin as well, but make sure not to lose your swords or not to lose your stuns. Now, I am gonna mess up a little bit over here, you guys are gonna see in a bit, but that's okay. Since we were already up by so much, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Ended up losing a sword and a croc. That's fine. I got 3 destructive bots. That's good. That's another additional stun. And destructive bots are super great at bosses. The regular stuns are great at controlling the mobs. And destructive bots are good against the bosses. Gonna go ahead and dodge. And that's perfect. I'll place all my stuns up there. Probably gonna get a chrono over here. Yeah, gonna make 2 more swords with that. So it'll be perfect. Now, obviously, I didn't play it the way I wanted to, but that's all good. Not a big deal. And keep rolling. Look for more penguins or look for anything that makes my sword. Sometimes I like to keep the owls as well if I'm not getting any penguins, because owls itself also provides you with attack speed increase. And by that, I'm pretty much, it's self-explanatory. If you have higher attack speed, your troops are going to be hitting faster, and that's always useful. Now, another thing to notice is that I'm pretty high up on silver, right? Now, there is a post in the Discord as well, which tells you at whatever level your hammer is, what's the minimum count of silver that you need to maximize out your attack. Because in rank, it's capped at a certain silver level. You don't get any much higher for having more silver. So make sure, right, once you hit that certain cap, depending on your hammer level, right, enhance your chance to summon higher rarities and start summoning and selling those troops for more coins, pretty much. And that's what I did, and that was an easy win right there. Let's go on to the next game. I'll show you guys what the stats are looking like. You know, you can tell, even though we were supporting, right, we still did some decent damage, and you know, we were pretty much prepped up for level 70 boss. Now on to the next game. This was also a king lobby, right? And I also got a Veil as a teammate, so I know I had to do support. I'm also going to go ahead and list out the supreme abilities of the heroes that are supreme in both of these two games on the side of the screen. But my goal over here is pretty much going to be simply what I did in the last game. Now, Turtle Supreme means that if your turtle is hitting a mob, right, Turtle Supreme ability also allows it to take extra 50% physical damage. Now that means what you want to make sure is for your dungeon, right, if your croc is also high enough, you make 3 crocs. You put 1 turtle and 3 crocs in there, that dungeon is going to get cleared easily, no problem. And we're talking about the 3rd dungeon over here. Same strat as the last game. I'm going to go ahead and pull all my purples in the dungeon. Now this is also a sell game. By that, what I mean is, because one of the thoughts, right, is if you sell a troop, you have 20% chance to gain a legendary. And that's super easy way to get the legendaries that you're looking for without merging them. As you guys can see, we pretty much cleared the dungeon super fast. I didn't even have to do much. Now, another thing I want to say is, before you guys jump into ranked games, right? Obviously, you have to see, you have to make sure if your partner is willing for you to play as a support. So always ask them if you can play support if you think you're not strong enough to DPS, or if your partner is stronger and you guys have a higher chance to win like that, then ask them if you can play support. Otherwise, you jump into playing as a semi-support. So now, as my first tech selection is about to come, these are the options that we have, and amongst these, the first one is the best one out of those 3 options. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll the other 2. Now, the first one just gives you more coins each wave, or a chance of gaining in a coin each wave, and that's always good. Now, for which ones I would not have picked that option would be, for example, if there was a passive increase option or because passive increase always comes along with a population increase. So I would have picked that one up definitely. If there was an HP option, I would have picked that one up definitely too. Because having more HP just gives you kind of like more buffer room, right? Let's say if your teammate doesn't clear the dungeon just because you have an extra HP, you might be able to win that game. So if I were to rank, HP is always number one, and the second best option is always passive increase and population increase along with it. Pretty much the same tech. Gonna run 2 turtles and 2 sets of elites. Always the best thing. If I gain any extra destructive bots, since because there's a chance for you to gain a legendary hero when you sell it, right? I'm thinking about making 3 destructive bots as well. Now make sure you do not overdo your stunts, right? Because 2 turtles and 6 elites should be pretty much all the stunts that you guys need. And that's plenty. I see sometimes when I jump into games, right, when people say they're gonna play support, they're building like 5 turtles and 2 elites, and that's not how you play support. You want to make sure when you're supporting, you're also giving damage increase up to your teammate. I was just gonna go ahead and remind my partner right here that Convoy is supreme, but I'm pretty sure he knew that. Now, you guys would have also noticed that I didn't summon my Lord in this game, and that's definitely the right move to do because I do not have the soccer ball skin, right? The one that refills your mana out for your heroes. And if you do not have that skin, I don't think there's really any good reason to run your Lord. Maybe if you are trying to get the dungeon clear faster, right? But I had since I saw this was like a Veil lobby, my Lord wouldn't make much of a difference. It's always a good thing to go ahead and put your troops in dungeon ahead of time, so you're maximizing that timer. You're not putting it in the last second. So many times I've seen people completely forget about dungeon. And even if you're playing as a support, right? I mentioned it earlier, I'm gonna mention it again. Your damage is still gonna matter. Sometimes the dungeon comes down to the last second, and maybe your damage right there would have helped your DPS out. Now over there, I quickly checked my HP of the team, right, just to see which pick we were, right, and it seems like we were the 3rd pick, so I thought it was a decent option to leave my slot open. I went ahead and picked up Frozen Queen. Now this may be an underrated pick, but on this account, I do have the Frozen Queen skin, the pearl one, right, and because I'll be summoning a lot of times, a lot of troops, right, I'm going to be able to merge those elementals into the queen and make it do more damage. Now, if you save the ult charge for the queen, right, and pop it at the last second on the boss, right, that boss is going to melt. And because this game also had, on the mini bosses on wave 40, 20, and 60, it was resistance to different type, or like it was only letting damage done by a certain type. Queen was definitely a good move to do. Oh. Now I did make one turn because I was looking to get one ranged hero. If I get a wizard, I would have made a blast cat. But because I got a term right, I made one term. And term also kind of helps your DPS as well. It increases mana regeneration by 10%, which definitely helps your DPS out. I'm also gonna go ahead and put one turtle in the dungeon to let my physical heroes do extra damage. Now, Sword and Croc are all physical heroes, right? They do physical damage. So, and since Turtle is supreme, right? You might as well put it in there. Even if the turtle is not supreme, right? And you have relic turtle, it's a good idea to put it in there. Tech that I got right there, the best one was definitely 3% increased damage for each different mythic hero. And again, because I had Frost Queen as well for my selection, that's a different type of hero. And see, I put my Frost Queen at the end when it was onto the last dungeon boss phase, and that boss melted pretty fast. Go ahead and keep rolling for more penguins right here to increase damage, increase up. Over here, I'm gonna start getting ready for the 40 boss phase, mini boss that's coming up. You go ahead and put my stuns in the dungeon, put my penguins in the dungeon that I do not need. Now, I did keep 2 hunters just in case. If I manage to pull another destructive bot, I'm gonna go ahead and make another turn. I'm gonna go ahead and enhance my swords. Again, they do percentage based damage, so it's always useful. I'm gonna chip away at the boss.
Chase the thrill with every desire we've yet to fulfill. Caught in the frenzy, we dancing.
Now on this boss, on this mini boss, right? I'm gonna try to look for a kill mechanic or a bush mechanic to kill off my econ since I don't need it at this point. Let's see if we do get one. But if you guys do get one right, make sure to kill off your econ at wave 40, pretty much. Now, I know in the next season we're not gonna have this mini boss mechanic, right? But even if you do get, like, for example, an ice kill at 40, 50, or 60, right? Make sure to kill off your econ because you want to have more space uh, to make more penguins. This applies to both. This applies to both DPS and support players. Just gonna go ahead and put my DPS in the dungeon since I don't need it on the field right now. Prepare for the dungeon ahead of time. Now, this wasn't a population increase game, right? So I pretty much hit my max limit, so I can't roll for any more penguins. So right now, I'm just gonna chill, sit in the back. I'm also gonna get a tech selection. I'm gonna fill up my board. I don't want anything useless. Since we're pretty much high up on the HP, we're gonna be the last pick. On this ice boss that's coming up, right, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to kill off all my econ, because econ doesn't provide really any value late game. I could have also chosen to kill off my frost queen, but I was a sucker for that skin, so I didn't kill it. It's important to note that you're not stunning the bosses at the entrance, right? So let the boss walk up into your DPS range so they can kill it. And one thing to note also is penguins also stun, right? Now they're not great at stunning mobs, right? But they're pretty decent at stunning the bosses. So having them in front of your actual stuns like Alots and destructive bots is always great. Pretty soon we're gonna get our third tech selection, and as you can tell, I got that passive population increase. I'm gonna keep that, and that's gonna let us build more penguins, and which is exactly what we're gonna do. Now, if we do get any terms, any destructive bots, right, we're gonna go ahead and make another Terminator. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be my strategy throughout the end of the game right here. And you guys are gonna see we're gonna get this win pretty easily. Now on this hero selection that's coming up, right, since one team is already knocked out, we also have plenty of space on the board, right? I decided to keep my slots open and just pick up an extra hero. And I think I am probably going to pick up Chanter. Yeah. Now Chanter Supreme gives 20% attack speed to your nearby heroes. And they're always great. And since I'm placing it up pretty high up, right, hopefully it's also reaching to my DPS over there. Now over here, I'm trying to dig for some hunters to build an extra Terminator, but I think I don't manage to get any hunters at all. So I just end up, in fact, matter of fact, I actually end up getting two more destructive bots. So I just end up using those as stunts instead. Now I think this game is pretty much coming up to a close end. I think the other teams don't survive the wave. So this is pretty much going to be it for the rank guide. I hope I showed you guys at least a little bit on how to play support, right? If you guys play like this, I can assure you, you guys are always gonna win or at least get, good positioning, good standings. And you're actually gonna enjoy those games that when you match up into a king lobby or have a really good teammate. Now, I do understand sometimes your pairings are gonna be bad, right? But it's just a game. Hopefully, this will help you guys enjoy a little bit more. And if this video does good, right, I'm going to go ahead and make another rank guide for the new season that's coming up and hopefully show you different variations on how to play. Now, if this guide helps you do better in rank, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, I'll be making more rank videos in the future. Good luck in your rank games and thank you for watching.